Hello everyone, my name is Sean. I am the Crypto Smith. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another update for Kounotori exchange, right? The KTO exchange, the centralized exchange that started building 2 years ago, and we are still in the middle of it. I told you before, actually in the very last video I did, that building a centralized exchange or even building anything in the community token space, it's not always sexy. It's not always exciting. There's not always something to talk about, not always something to report on or to do a video about, which is why it's been a little while since I've done my last video. And going forward, I'm going to be doing videos based on events happening, based on there being something being released to be able to talk about. And today is no exception. I'm going to be talking about a couple of items and then something very important at the end, including security of your tokens. So again, thanks for coming back and checking out this video on Kounotori. Now, I don't want to go over all of the exact updates that have been happening. They do put out week to week an update on exactly what's going on with the project, how the devs are doing, what's going on behind the scenes, kind of where they're making some strides and where they maybe have to clean up a little bit. So we're fortunate enough to get that. And I will also remind you that they are doing this to be transparent. They're doing this not just for their personal benefit, but for the benefit of the community who is standing behind them and who has been standing behind them for the last couple of years, building in this extremely difficult bear market. And as you noticed lately, the last few days, the market has actually gone crazy. And I don't say crash because it's the crypto, right? Crash really isn't the term I use. It's just been down the last couple of days pretty significantly. But keep in mind that they don't owe us anything. They don't owe us updates weekly. They don't owe us explanations on everything they're doing, but they're doing this to benefit us, the community, to keep themselves motivated and moving forward. They know what they're working for, and they're working for a better centralized exchange, something that is more transparent, that is trustable, which is kind of at a premium today with a lot of centralized exchanges that are doing some shady things. And I think if we knew everything that was going on behind the scenes on a lot of these other exchanges, you would never use them. So keeping in mind all of that, I just want to go over a couple of updates on this last update, which was actually 2 weeks ago. But then we're going to go forward and talk about something very important. This says the weekly board meeting held and the key resolutions. So they held a public forum vote on token tax rate reduction per feedback and research. What that means, they held a vote, right? The community voted and they decided what they wanted to do with the taxes on the token. And what do you think happened? Here's a quick preview. Okay. So that's what happened. I'm going to talk more about that in a second. They did determine probationary periods for executive board candidates, which we're going to follow up on here. Resolved to offer roles to successful candidates in the areas of marketing, compliance, and design, right, subject to acceptance and finalization. So what they're doing is they are interviewing people and they're talking to people, not only building their exchange, but they are building their team, which means they want to go out and get others who hopefully have been successful in this business, which is going to be very difficult to find because in the community token space, obviously, I can't name one project in the last couple of years that has done what they said they were going to do, done what they set out to do, and are currently successful in that endeavor. There isn't one. And I don't think you could name me one that is currently successful. There are a couple, and I'm going to say one or two that are on the cusp that could be, but really there can't be much experience in that space. So they probably come from other spaces, maybe just traditional business or finance, and that is just as important to building the centralized exchange as anything else. So they're looking to fill a bunch of different spots. They're also reviewed potential legal counsel candidates who have extensive experience and certifications in crypto, blockchain, AML, which is anti-money laundering, and Web3 space in general. Obviously, this is going to be hugely important in the near future, probably in the next year to 2 years, if there is some sort of legal framework passed by Congress or the SEC gets its butt kicked often enough that they'll be able to just continue to build and won't have to worry about them being attacked in the future. But one of these things is going to happen in legal counsel going forward to make sure that they are following all the rules, all the regulations. They're going to need proper legal counsel in order to do that. And then just one more thing, drafting and finalizing documentation to support the push of funding and future business structures. This is going to be important to my next point. 2% was voted on. right? Why not? I mean, if I'm going to vote on how much I'm going to pay in taxes in order to buy this token, I'm going to want as little as possible, obviously, being selfish. But this is a two-way street. We need to understand that half of this goes to the dev team in order to build this centralized exchange. They're having to come out of pocket, I'm sure, a bunch in order to build. They need funding, which hence my last sentence there about drafting documentation for the push of funding and future business structures. They're going to need funding and probably a decent amount, which they already know this, right? We already know more money is going to be needed in order to finish out this centralized exchange and probably push it into the future going forward. So that's always a thing that's needed is money. Now they're only going to get 1% going to the devs and going to the building of the exchange, and 1% goes back to Reflection. So, how do I feel about it? Sure. I love a very small tax like that is very good, for me to continue to build my bag of Kounotori tokens and KTO, but it does, it's a double-edged sword. So keep that in mind as you're purchasing. If you want to purchase, if you're somebody who's just looking at this from the outside and you don't really know what you want to do yet, and that which is totally fine, the KTO token is not just going to magically jump in price, because an exchange is finished. They're going to be working on some sort of utility for that token going forward. Obviously, that's what they're going to want to do. But maybe you're just somebody who's going to wait for this centralized exchange in order to use it for trading crypto, which is awesome. That's what they're building it for. Now, my last item I want to talk about is security and safety, which obviously they're working on to make sure that their exchange is secure and safe. However, they want to remind you, and I also want to remind you, that keep your KTO tokens or any and all other tokens you can on a cold storage wallet, if at all possible. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be Ledger. They're just utilizing Ledger here. You've got EliPal, and there's many other different cold storage devices. And if you follow my content on my channel, you'll know that I'm part of another community that is building a device-free cold storage system and cold storage wallet. So I'm not going to name it because that's not what we're here for. I'm here for Kounotori, but keep your stuff safe. Now, let me get to my expanded point on this. So now I know what you're going to say. Ledger is terrible. They're trying to steal your tokens. They installed some backdoor where they can get in and they can get your stuff, right? Well, that's not the case. If you do a little research into it, they have a program in place that you have to sign up for. It's not just automatic. They can't just reach in and they know all of your keys, your secret phrase and all that, and they can come in and take your crypto. That is not the case at all. It's just for people who want to have an extra security. Let's say you have your seed phrase and you lose your ledger or you lose your account somehow, your computer goes down, and now you have to reload it and you have to upload that seed phrase. What if you lose that? So let me give you a quick story. I've talked to several people out in the non-crypto world, right? They know what it is because I talk about it often, but they really don't understand it. And as soon as I tell them that they have to put their crypto into an account, and that account is secured by this passphrase or this seed phrase. And then they always ask, well, what if I lose it? And I say, well, if you lose it, unfortunately, your crypto's gone. There's no way to get it back. And immediately they say, okay, well, I'm out. That's going to discourage a lot of people. And you know what? You're right. And that gets us back to mass adoption. If you want your tokens to be worth more than they are today, because of mass adoption, that's never going to happen unless we get past this point of self-custody for the masses. Because even though you and I are all about self-custody, I like having control of my keys, right? My keys, my crypto. But we're going to need centralized exchanges. We're going to need places where people can pick up the phone or call, or they can email, or they can instant message somebody in order to help them with a problem they're having, and not just accept the fact that, well, I guess my crypto's gone because I have a problem. Even though you and I think self-custody is the way to go, I guarantee you the masses out there, right, the mom and pops, your brothers and sisters, your cousins, your neighbors who don't know much about crypto, they don't want to know that if they lose their keys, their money is all gone, right? And there's no way to get it back. There's nobody they can call, figure it out. So try to keep that in mind and when you're pitching crypto to people who really don't know, because it is very scary for them to hear things like, if you lose your keys, sorry, you're out of luck. All your money's gone. All that hard-earned money that you put into crypto and you've been waiting for it to go up in value somewhere, now you can't access it any longer. Sorry, you're out. right? Nobody wants to hear that. And unless we figure out a way, just like Ledger was trying to do, and I think they had their heart and their mind in the right place, the delivery was a little off, which is why everybody had a problem with it. But the idea, I think, is sound, and I think we're going to need that. If you're ever going to get mass adoption, we're going to have systems in place where somebody can reach out and get their keys back, and somebody can reach out in case there's a catastrophic event, your house burns down, you lost that passphrase somehow, or your seed phrase. You have to have a way to get your money back. So that's the only way I see crypto going through mass adoption, even getting into the 30 to 50% range of use case out in the world. We're going to have that happen. So if you disagree with me, totally fine. Put it down in the comments. Let me know what you think. But I think Kounotori is on the right track, building a safe, transparent, centralized exchange. I'm all for it. And that's it for this week's update. I'm going to see you guys next time.